have little ones sitting in your lap, that's perfectly fine. If they're in the seat beside you, that is also fine. Just make sure they're staying in the same seat throughout the entirety of our safari. So even if we do come to a complete stop or you cannot see an animal, you still have to sit down the entire time we're out here. If you're taking photos or videos, make sure you're holding onto your phones or cameras nice and tight. If you lose anything, let me know. I'll do my best to make sure you get it back. I just can't promise it looks the same as when you lost it. Now, our first stop on the reserve is the Little Witchery Forest. Animals that live here like to hide and blend in super well, so keep a good eye out as we go along. Over to our left-hand side, these are greater kudos, and over to our right-hand side, that's going to be the okapi. Now, the greater kudos on our left are actually female greater kudos because they don't have horns, only the males do. But both male and female rely on their sense of hearing rather than their sense of sight. Now, the okapi to our right, they have striping on their legs very similar to a zebra, but they are the closest relative to a giraffe. Both okapi and giraffe have very long tongues and very similar facial features. Now, back over to our left, behind the greater kudos, these are bongos. Now, the bongos, also called the ghosts of the forest because they're rarely seen, and with the way their horns lean back, they can get through thicker underbrush undetected. They do get scared quite easily though, and when they get scared, they run and hide. But they only hide the front half of their bodies because the back half is a little bit shorter. Now, also to our left, we're going to be seeing the black rhino here. Now, the black rhino is actually gray in color. That will apply to white rhinos too. One of the main differences between them is that upper lip shape. The black rhino has a more pointed upper lip, while the white rhino will have a wide one. Now, the reason why we call them black is because they're usually around the lecter, instinct, and tend to be covered in it. They're also thought to be solitary creatures, but usually they'll socialize at night in pretty small pairs. Also to our left in the grass, these are going to be saddle-bill storks. Saddle-bill storks get their names because it looks like they have a little saddle on their beak. Unlike most birds, they don't have vocal cords, so they rattle their beaks around to communicate with one another. The females have yellow eyes and the males have dark brown, almost black eyes, and really that's the only physical difference between them. They both have a wingspan of 6 to 7 feet and incredibly long legs, help them get through water. Now, we're going to make our way out of Little Witchery and over to the Safi River. Animals that live in Safi will either completely be in the water or very close to it. So we might not have the best view going forward, but we'll try to enjoy what we can find in it. Alright, on this little island, these are pink-backed pelicans. Their backs really are pink, so it's the underside of their wings, but during their mating season, the top of their beaks will turn pink as well. They're also colonial nesters, meaning they nest in pairs ranging from 20 to 900, and they nest in trees with mom and dad using their feet to keep the eggs warm. Also to our right, these are Nile hippos, and there's another one over to our left too. Now, hippos will spend quite a bit of time in the water. They hold their breath for roughly 8 whole minutes, and it only takes them a few seconds to beat their heads up, get a good breath of air before falling back down. Hippos are born anywhere between 80 to 100 pounds, and they can reach 2,000 pounds when they get to adulthood. They also bond with their mom for a whole year and a half. While mom and baby bond, other hippos circle around them to make sure they stay protected. Hippos have a reputation of being super aggressive, but honestly, they're just really protective of one another and their homes.
Esse aí pega só pra ele, ó. É, igual mantona. Mas é enorme pra todo mundo ver.
And there are a few more hippos on this little island here too. Make sure we stay fully seated. But also too, our left, these are Nile crocodiles in the corner. The Nile crocodile is one of the largest freshwater crocodiles, roughly 16 feet long and 700 pounds. They eat about half their body weight in one setting and even then it's not for nothing of it. They're also full-fledged. So the eggs in their mouth and then grow more out of the hatch. But they also put the eggs in their mouth if there's already danger nearby. It's usually temperature that determines whether or not the eggs are boys or girls. The warmer the temperature, the more likely they're boys. The colder the temperature, the more likely they're girls. right, we're going to be passing by the baobab tree. Baobab trees are also called upside down trees because they look upside down. But at the top are natural branches, not roots. Baobabs go up to about 9 months without leaves, storing all the water they need inside their trunks to ensure survival. It will also ensure survival for some of the animals that live in the savanna, which branch right now. You'll probably recognize quite a few of the animals that live here, but there are probably a couple that you don't recognize. And I'll keep pointing them out as we go along. Now there are quite a few animals over here to our right, including the Angola cattle. Angola cattle have incredibly large horns that get anywhere between 5 to 6 feet long and hold blood circulation. Blood will circulate through their horns, then go down to the rest of their body to disperse body heat. They're also called Watese cattle because they were domesticated by the Watese back in 4000 BC Egypt. And there's also a Maasai giraffe all the way over to our very far right by the trees. Now, a group of giraffes is called a tower. It makes a lot of sense. They're very tall and tower over just about everything. When giraffes are first born, they have a 6-foot drop to the hot top moments. The drop shocks them into taking their very first breath, and so within an hour, they're often walking. It's pretty rare to really see giraffes sitting down, especially when they're out in the wild. They mainly stand because it protects them from predators. Even when they need to sleep, they sleep standing up. Granted, they don't need a lot of sleep. They nap for about 30-ish minutes, and that's it for them for the full day. Now, it's hard to see, but there are some African painted dogs over to our left. They're slightly behind the cave, so you really can't make them out that great. Now, painted dogs get their names because it looks like their coats have been painted on, and each painted dog has a unique coat specific to them, the same way we have unique specific fingerprints. Now, also to our left, we have the sable antelopes along with the wildebeest. Now, the sables will turn that darkish brown color as they get older and live in pretty small herds. If the herd gets too large, they branch off into smaller ones again. Sables are led by dominant male and female alpha. The male decides the intent for them to migrate, but the females determine where they go and how they get there. Now, the name wildebeest is Afrikaans for wildebeest, but they're pretty calm creatures. They like migrating. It doesn't usually matter where they go, wherever the one takes them. Every now and then, you can find them migrating with zebras, elands, as well as tuxes and grants themselves. Now, speaking of zebras, we're going to see some zebras on both sides of the truck here. When zebras are first born, they imprint on their mom's shape pattern. Now they can recognize which mom is theirs. If you ever wondered if they're black with white stripes or white with black stripes, the answer is black with white stripes. And a good way to remember is to look at their noses. They also have a small flap of skin hanging from their neck called a dewlap, and it's there to help them regulate their body temperatures. That way they're not getting too hot or too cold. Their heart is also 3 times bigger than any other zebra. That's because their heart will produce a lot more red blood vessels and less oxygen, allowing them to live in higher altitudes. Their hooves are also a lot more sharper and pointed, that way they can climb up easier. Now, giraffes are considered to be a keystone species because they can play a pivotal role to their ecosystem. That role would be pollinators. Because they're so tall, they can collect pollen at the very top of their heads and pass it from tree to tree. Speaking of the top of their heads, those are horns at the top is bone called ossico. Both the male and female giraffes will have them, the male okapis will have them as well. Earlier, I mentioned that giraffe and okapi have incredibly long tongues, but what I didn't really mention is that their tongues are prehensile, meaning they can grab things with their tongues the same way we can grab things with our fingers. Their tongues are also purple because they develop a natural coating to them, ensuring they're not getting sunburned. Real quick, if you look over to the right, you'll see a couple of springboks by the tall grass. The springbok is one of these smallest antelopes at roughly 33 inches, but they are incredibly good jumpers. They get about 9 feet high to the air and 13 feet across, plus they run up to about 55 miles per hour.
Just watching everybody.
Coming up, we're going to be seeing the African elephant. He's all the way over to our very far right back there. Now, elephants will travel in a herd in a matriarchy, and the eldest and largest female will be the one in charge. The males aren't always as social as the females, so sometimes they'll leave the matriarchy and live alone. In some other cases, they make bachelor herds consisting of 2 or 3 male elephants max. While giraffes are definitely one of the tallest land animals, elephants will be one of the largest. The males get to about 13 feet tall, while the females get to about 10 feet, but they both weigh anywhere between 9,000 to 14,000 pounds. Elephants usually don't stop growing until they turn about 40 years old, which is super impressive because they can live to be about 70. Our way through red clay pits, and they act as a form of vitamins for elephants. The elephants will come over, get a little nibble to get the minerals inside, and they're off on their way. So maybe we'll see a few more elephants as we keep going. Actually, if you look over to the left, you'll see some elephants right here. Now, elephants rely on the water that surfaces at the baobab trees. They'll take their tusk and poke it into the tree trunk to let the water flow out. And they'll drink up to 40 gallons of water a day. They also have sensitive skin, just like we do. So they take mud or sand and fling it onto themselves, using it as a form of sunblock. That way they're not sunburned. They're also born with blood vessels inside their ears, so they pop the ears throughout the day to make sure that they're not getting overheated. Coming up to our left, we're going to be seeing the greater flamingos. You might notice that a few look a little grayish or not completely pink, but don't worry, they're fine. Most flamingos are first born, they're born gray. It does take them roughly 2 years of eating brine shrimp in order to turn pink, and it just
Look at that duck upside down.
Although whenever they lose their feathers, they do have a tendency to be white.
Dito isso, Flamengo campeão.
Also, if you glance over to the right, you should be able to see that common eland over there. Now, the eland is one of the largest antelopes at roughly 6 feet shoulder height, but they're not very fast runners, only getting up to about 25 miles per hour. Males will run through bushes and leaves their horns and press to the females to impress them. The females will either be really impressed or really unimpressed, and then knock the leaves off in the form of rejection. Over to our left, these are white rhinos. White rhinos are one of the largest African rhinos, usually weighing about 6,000 pounds. Black rhinos, on the other hand, get up to about 2,000, but they both stand at 5 to 6 feet shoulder height. The reason we call them white is because it's a mispronunciation of the Afrikaans word white, which means wide, emanating from their wider upper lips. But just like us and the elephants, they have sensitive skin, so they roll around the mud, that way they're not getting sunburned. It will also help them stay cool throughout the day and repel insects. They're also born without their horns. It will take a couple months up to a whole year for it to grow in. And even then, the horns are still pretty small. They're also made of compressed keratin, which is the same thing you can find in your hair and fingernails.
Yeah, like it doesn't smell bad. This is like a...
I think it's the egg.
Probably.
It's just fresh.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
are one of the fastest land animals around. They get up to about 70 miles per hour, though they only hold it for about 100 yards. They also have
Set up and see my dad.
What did you say? Their eyes don't
Cheetahs will be on the hill.
reflexes that help them see where they're going. Unlike lions or tigers, cheetahs will not roar. They're going to make the same noises as a household cat. Their chirping noise that's very similar to hers. They're also one of the only big cats able to retract their claws. We think that's part of the reason why they're so fast.
Oh wait, there's more.
They'll use that to their advantage to
Oh,
get
there he is.
Oh, I'm stuck.
Now, the short formation we're going to go around is called a copy, and some animals have been time on it to see what's going on down below them. Now, there are some lions hanging out here on the copy. They're in the grassy part right in front of us, but they're really hard to make out properly. Now, lions are nocturnal creatures, so usually they sleep during the day and are more active at night. Their eyesight is also a lot better at night. Granted, their eyesight is about 6 times better than to begin with. Their hearing is also really great because their ears rotate, especially while they're out and about. That way they can always hear what's going on around them. Lions are one of the only big cats that live on Mercury Prize the way that they do. Lioness are the ones who go off and do the hunting. Lion himself will stay behind to get to their territory. Now over to our right-hand side, I see some water bucks by the trees in the middle and a few more white rhinos. There's also an ostrich all the way back there by that truck. Now the water buck is a type of antelope that live by large amounts of water for two
We're not
reasons.
looking that way.
One,
We're
they drink
gonna
a lot of
admire
water
the view
throughout the day.
instead. I'm too
The second
lazy.
is when
I'm
they're in danger,
sorry.
they run into the water to stay protected because they're coastal water. Because of that, it's actually pretty rare to see them migrate. If they do, it's usually through water instead of on land. Now you actually get a really nice view of this guy that's lying down right here on the corner.
I see your face.
No. Oh, now I see. Sorry, guys.
Over to our right, you can see those rhinos again, but you also get a really nice view of the ostrich.
I'll show
walking
you
around
guys, I
up there.
guess.
The ostrich is one of the largest birds at roughly 8 feet tall, but unlike most birds, they cannot fly. The younger rhinos though getting up to about 40 miles per hour, though they do stick their wings out to help them balance. They also have the biggest eyes for birds. They're about 2 inches big in diameter, and they have thick
I didn't get
eyelids
it.
and long eyelashes to keep this up there. They also lay the eggs over in the grass to our right. Ostrich eggs have a very hard shell. I'm gonna don't sustain them one without the breaking. And they're pretty heavy too. One ostrich egg weighs about the same as 24 chicken eggs, which is roughly 3 to 4 pounds. Next up, the warden's outpost. The warden's been taking care of Nigerian dwarf goats lately. They make for pretty good pets, as long as you have the right amount of space for them. Overall, they're incredibly playful. They like to run, jump, headbutt one another. All of this will help them reach maturity. They also provide goat's milk, which is healthier than cow's milk. Their bellies are also pretty big, considering how small they are. That's because they're born with 4 compartments in their stomachs that help them digest random portion food. Our safari, which means our safari is almost over. If you're looking to see more animals, you can always come back to Kilimanjaro Safaris. No 2 safaris will be exactly the same. You might see something you didn't see this time around. You can also make your way over to the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. It's a self-guided tour. There you'll see gorillas, hippos, meerkats, and mole rats. There's also a bird aviary. Or you can make your way over to the Maharaja Jungle Trek